It's wonderful to be here with my very extended international family again. And to begin with, I would like to take you on a short tour of what life in Ukraine is right now. So just yesterday, about 100 Russian missiles rained on Ukraine, cutting off most major cities from electricity. And we're talking about millions of Ukrainians in darkness, hundreds of thousands without access to food, water, heating. So they're hungry, they're thirsty, they're cold, but guess what? We're still standing. I always thought that Ukrainian history was extremely depressing because there was always someone who wanted to either kill us, exploit us, or assimilate us. But after having experienced 2 major revolutions, countless protests, more than I can ever count, and 8 years of war, plus the 9 months of this latest large-scale invasion, I have come up with a number of conclusions that I would like to share with you today. So one of the first ones is that it's both a miracle and a normality that we have been able to survive until this day. Over the past couple of hundreds of years, we had to fight hard to keep our identity, our culture, and our language. So we went through 3 artificially arranged famines, 2 world wars, and just in the second one, at least 8 million Ukrainians lost their lives. We went through mass deportations, mass killings of carriers of Ukrainian culture. These are writers, artists, journalists, but we're still here. We still have our language, we still have our culture, and we are ready to keep fighting for it. And I think that was one of the main lessons we've learned. So in order to get your freedom, you need to fight very hard for it. But if you want to keep it, you have to fight even harder. So it was a bit naive of us to think that back in 1991, our fight was over. It was when 80% of Ukrainians showed up to vote at a referendum. And out of those 32 million, 29 million agreed to live in an independent Ukraine, which is over 90% of the population. Even in Crimea, 54% said yes to independence. In Donetsk, Luhansk, which are occupied right now, the percentage was a lot higher. It was 84%, and even higher than that in all other regions. But we're still fighting. We're still dying for our identity, for our language, for our right to determine our way forward into the future. And we are dying for our values because we really believe in them. And we think that if you carry those values with you, if you really believe in them, you need to be able to do something about them. Otherwise, these are just very pretty words, but there's nothing behind them. And another reason why we are fighting for our future without Russia. And that's why peace at all costs is not an option for us. because it's the same death, just a bit slower, right? So whenever people suggest it to me, and sometimes even within our movement, I ask them to think real hard about how much of their own freedom they have already sacrificed for this relatively comfortable life, right? Peace at all cost. We are saying no to that, and while people keep suggesting it to us, we pack our to-go bags, we stock up on supplies to help us survive a nuclear attack. We prepare packages for elevators for our neighbors who will get stuck there during the next blackout. And this is what life is in Ukraine right now. So even if you have a comfortable life, if you live in an established democracy, it's a luxury. You're very lucky, but do not get complacent, because this is how you lose your freedom without even realizing it. And maybe it's one of the reasons why we are fighting for it so hard right now, because we never had this comfortable life, but we really want it. And I'm sure we'll have it. And last but not least, well, this is less of a conclusion, but more of a suggestion. So during this holiday season, for Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever you celebrate, give your loved ones an extra tight hug. For all Ukrainians who cannot do the same right now or ever again. Thank you very much.